It is May 1st, and this is a presentation from day 410 of the 15-day lockdown. We're comparing the actual CDC data with the infections, and this is very important that you bear this in mind. So you're being told you've got this vaccine that's 95% effective. This video is about what actually happened in reality, according to the CDC. So this is obviously about did the product perform as it was sold. So you want to say it's safe, you want to say it's effective, you want to say we can evaluate a product without the normal years of testing. Fine, we're going to do that. And we're going to do it in a manner consistent with what CDC has done. Namely, collect data from the field and just throw it out there and see what happens. So here's what we know. CDC's own data as of April 30th, 2021, that is day 410 of the 15-day lockdown in Connecticut. So the data, the slides I'm going to show you, it's from CDC's data. That's the top graph, the bottom graph, it's all generated by CDC. So the CDC says that 8 to 9 times as many people were infected as they've confirmed. So you got to read that as multiply the number of positives according to them by 8 or 9, and you're going to get the actual number of infected that they estimate. So the thing you also have to bear in mind is no correlation means no causation. So simply put, if the action you take doesn't even correlate with the result, then the action didn't work, did it? So your action that you took should track with the result that you predicted, and it should actually show up in the numbers. So that's kind of it's a basic thing that we struggle with getting that, and I think we're going to get there, but typically as the costs of these measures go up, the more people start asking questions. So more known knowns. The CDC has said, miracle jab, 95% effective. Great, fine. We'll take it as well pleaded. We'll take it as true. So this means for that to be true, we should see 95% less infections in the percentage of the population that got miracle jab. So miracle jab, whether you want the Pfizer flavor, the Moderna flavor, the Johnson & Johnson flavor, the AstraZeneca flavor, whatever, miracle jab has had emergency use authorization since December 10th. And in order to do that, we have to deny and scream and shout down the possibility that you can do anything else to treat COVID or prevent you from getting it. So that's what we did. We've done this for miracle jab. And of course, since we've done this for miracle jab, we should reasonably expect that public health decision has yielded benefits. So let's see. So the miracle jab proponents say your 95% effective immunity is complete 2 weeks after the final course, whatever you get. That's whether you get the Johnson & Johnson one-off or you get the Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca 2-shot deal. So after you get the final dose, 2 weeks later, that's what the holy word is, 95% immune. So we'll accept that as well pleaded. And of course, more than 100 million Americans have been fully vaccinated. So that's a third of the population in the United States. And that's kind of critical to, to set you up for what you should expect. So, in other words, if I show you a chart where, a third of the population is 95% immune, I should reasonably expect, I would see a downtick in infections, wouldn't you? So I guess this is where we put rubber to road and we do the experiment. Connecticut. Figure 1, this is Connecticut's face-based initiative data result in pictorial form. So all the way to the left on the top graph, that is the arrow. The first arrow is when we did the whole 15 days to flatten the curve, March 16th. And then we got the mask vaccine. Well, it doesn't seem that either of those interventions resulted in the desired effect, because they were done in a manner where, based on that time of year, as we saw again in 2021, infections peak and then they come down. So the thing you have to bear in mind from the left part of the graph, testing was really hard to get and it wasn't widespread. So as time moved along, testing was universally available. It was ubiquitous to everybody. You can get a test if you need one. So December 10th is when we rolled out Miracle Jab. And right now, as of day 410, which was yesterday of the 15-day lockdown in Connecticut, 34% of the population had the allegedly 95% effective miracle jab. This is the thing. I'm not seeing a result where I would expect and anticipate that could possibly be true. So again, let's bear in mind the known facts, shall we? So the CDC says as many as 8 to 9 times as many positives we've discovered. That's the actual number of infections. So multiply that by 8 or 9. So Connecticut, as of yesterday, which was day 410 of the 15-day lockdown, they had 338,447 tests. Multiplied by 8, that's 2.7 million. What that tells you is this thing has blown through according to the CDC's own statements and data and conclusions. Okay? That necessarily follows. And we've had a good, 5 months of miracle jab out there making a difference, so they say. And I know you're going to say, well, Connecticut's one state. Every state's different. Fine. Let's check out what happened in the People's Republic of Massachusetts. Same deal. They got their mask vaccine April 30th. It didn't stop the trend from moving upward, and that's kind of the same thing you've seen demonstrated in Connecticut. Miracle Jab starts. Here's December 10th. That's when Miracle Jab's on the market. And of course, you've got the same sawtooth pattern. The year before, testing wasn't widely available. The year now, testing is widely available. And yet the sawtooth curve looks the same. I mean, it's smaller, but it looks like it goes on the same pattern. And this is in a state where 55% of everybody is fully miracle jabbed. I know, you were expecting something different, weren't you? You didn't get it. So you're probably saying Massachusetts and Connecticut are neighbors, this and that. Fine. Let's go to South Dakota that did nothing. 30% of the population has the allegedly 95% effective cure. No masks, no mandates anywhere. You see a flat curve, comes into the winter, just like the much smaller curve to the left, same pattern. It's the exact same pattern. And notice here, you've got the flat lines in different places, the curves in different places, because it's been amplified as they've ramped up the testing. I know, you've all expected a South Dakota-shaped casket, and all you got was a normal, well-adjusted society that didn't scream at people. So, I know you're saying Connecticut, Massachusetts, South Dakota, all different places. Fine. Let's go to Texas. Texas pretended for quite a while all of this screaming was necessary. And of course, Texas, according to the news, should be a casket in the shape of Texas. Texas lifted the mask mandate a little over a month ago. And they have 24% of the population fully vaccinated, which is less than South Dakota. So I know you're going to say, I came to Texas expecting to hear cries of bring out your dead, and all I got was this lousy, disappointing data series from the CDC accessed on April 30th, 2021. And here you have it. You have, again, a situation where a certain result was expected to happen, and it just didn't happen in the real world. You see, that's kind of a problem. So, Mississippi, they ended their mask mandates and their screaming and their restrictions on September 30th. All right? So, this is in a state where 30% got 95% effective miracle jab in all courses. So, it's been over 6 months without the masks and the idiotic screaming. This is just, at a certain point, you have to realize at the beginning, all this was sold based on models. Now we have real-world data, according to the CDC. And we're still doing this. So you, I think, would have expected reasonably, if you'd watched the media, you'd have a casket in the shape of South Dakota, you'd have one in the shape of Mississippi, you'd have one in the shape of Texas. And of course, if you were watching the media, you would also expect to have watched this data series, from Connecticut and be like, gosh, COVID's virtually gone. But according to the CDC, that didn't happen in Connecticut or Massachusetts, did it? So here's the deal. Have we seen this before? And the answer is yes. We saw it on the Diamond Princess. We saw it on the USS Theodore Roosevelt. We saw it on the Ruby Princess. We've seen it in New York. We've seen it in California. We've seen it in every place we've locked down and shouted out any possibility of vitamin D or the Math Plus protocol to treat and intervene early with COVID-19. So we killed people. We made a choice to do that. Now, the necessary conclusions are one or two. One is Miracle Jab's marketing does not mean its results. That's a reasonable conclusion. It's not logically flawed. You all saw the slides. Go ahead and do this with every state if you want. I only got 5 of the 45 of them, but you know, if you want to do that, you want to pull the data, fine. You'll get the same curves. Or necessary conclusion two is maybe the Miracle Jab does work, but the labs continue to run PCR assays at 40 cycles, meaning the vast majority are false positives, and this pandemic had long since ended, in all likelihood, back in March of 2020. So that's not an unreasonable conclusion either. So either way, it should be clear to you that there are no plans on ending this control fetish or gravy train anytime soon, that is willingly. Go to makemeday.com. We've reached the point. I know they're already talking about extending this nonsense well into September, and you know how it's going to go. And it's going to keep going unless people actually say, make me. And that's the thing. Once we have these problems, once we make these problems clear, that conclusion is just necessarily upon you. So I hope you found this video helpful, and take care. It will be on YouTube as well, and